Hey, this is Andrew from Club Ready DJ School, and I know I've done a lot on mixing harmonically of late, but there's been a ton of really good questions about it, so I thought it did deserve one last roundup video, and in many ways, I think this video is the most important. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how accurate mixing key and your DJ software's inbuilt key analysis actually is, okay? I'm also going to do a quick review of the new mixing key version 10, and I'm going to weigh in on whether or not I feel it's worth paying the extra money. And I'm also going to talk about Mixing Key's new automated cue points for Rekordbox and show you how to set that up and get automated cue points on all your tracks. First things first though, can you trust Mixing Key or your DJ software's inbuilt key analysis? Now, personally, I always have, okay, because the alternative is what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to go and double check all the keys, but I'll be honest, man, it sounds a little bit like a nightmare. Let's say I go do a download session and get 30 tracks. To go and actually double check all the keys, it's gonna be a bit of a drain on my time, right? So what I find is, and especially, I don't think it's that important because here's the thing, I'm not relying that heavily on mixing key anyway. I personally think when you play live, it's more about playing the right songs at the right time and reading the crowd. And where I am using mixing key, and I think this is, I'm not ruled by mixing key. And if you haven't already, I've done videos about this a few weeks back where I was like, how important is mixing key really? But yeah, 100%, like it's great. Like, you know, it helps me to find tracks that are gonna sound good. But at the end of the day, I know people that have just been ruled by mixing key the whole time and it's ended up defeating the purpose. Like really, it should help you to like maybe find tracks that work well together, but I'm not a slave to mixing and key the whole time. So personally, I don't really have to go through and double check if all my songs are perfectly compatible or not and what all the different references are saying. But then again, let's say I've got a track playing and let's say I can't get it to work with anything, then that kind of is an indication that maybe mixing key or whatever software I'm using might have got the key wrong. So what I'm going to do now is let's put them all side to side. And what I managed to do was I got mixing key version 10. Okay, I'm going to talk more about that as we go. But mixing key 10, they're saying, right, that they're the world's most accurate key detection. So let's start by measuring them up versus Rekordbox and let's see what detection they got. So first of all, what I've done with Rekordbox though, I have gone and put it in the alphanumeric system because that's the Camelot system, right? So if you don't know how to do that, I think it was last week's video was all about that actually. So I'll link that in now, but that's just like what numbers go with what and how it kind of works. So there's a lot of feedback on that, but some people asked about accuracy. That's what's prompted this video a bit. So, okay, so what I've done is, first of all though, I've gone and put this on Rekordbox 6 because if you want to get the cue points, it only works with Rekordbox 6, okay? But let's start with the keys first of all. So I've gone and done it. So I didn't overwrite Rekordbox keys. So what I did was I put the mixing key keys, right, in the comments field. And then next to it in the key field, I've got what Rekordbox have said. So let's first compare and see if they're both saying the same thing. So I hear straight off the bat, so the comments is mixing key. The key field is what Rekordbox is saying. So already there's a clash. Mixing key is saying that first song should be 9A and Rekordbox is saying 9B. Now, personally, not that far apart probably, but then again, it might matter when it comes to what song would I play with that. So for instance, if it was 9B and I thought, I can go into 10B, well, 9B would go with 10B, but 9A wouldn't go with 10B. You know what I mean? So it's probably not mattering if you're staying in 9A or 9B and mixing in that, but it could matter when actually branching into another song. So that could be an example where it's not working. You might want to double check it. I would say the majority are the same. But here's one, 1A and 4B, and then you got this one, that one's saying 9A and 10A. Okay, so here's the thing. If they're both saying the same thing, I'd just trust it. You know what I mean? That's like two sources saying the same thing. And that's kind of what you're after. As soon as you can find like a second opinion saying the same thing, I'd probably go with that. But let's say they're saying different things and you wanted to double check it and get like another source to back it up. So let's first of all see, okay, what if I can find another source. So what I've already done a bit of research, but over here I went to this site and it's called 11 Best Music Key Finders, okay? But I just want to say something that they said quickly, and that goes, determining the keys to a song is not an exact science, okay? So even experienced musicians can often disagree over what key a song is actually in. So although songs might involve key changes, right, with that what it does is it makes it difficult for the software to determine the correct key. So here's the thing, they're saying use these websites and apps as a tool, but you can't rely on them for 100% accuracy. So that's interesting. So even they're saying perhaps none of them are really that accurate. But then again, Mixed In Key is saying they're the most accurate. So let's see. So first of all, there's TuneBat here. They're taking that from Spotify apparently. Okay, that information. Scale, I haven't heard of them. And then you've got Beatport as well. They've got the key. And then you've got Mixed In Key. And then you've got all your inbuilt key analysis software. Okay, so let's actually go have a look at that song. So what I'm going to do is I go here. And at Rekordbox, let's compare this one, Loco. So Mixed In Key is saying 9A, Rekordbox is saying 10A. So let's go see what these other sites are saying. So I go in here and I go to, let's start with Rekordbox. So I type the name of the song, I searched it, I've done that already to save us time, but it's not giving me the Camelot system, it's saying E major. So you'd have to bring up your harmonic mixing guide, and what it's saying, E major here, that's 12B, okay? So you just have to find the key and get the correct number. Okay, so that's different, okay? So you've got Mixed In Key saying 9A, Rekordbox saying 10A, and now this one, Beatport saying 12B. So let's see what TuneBat says. They're saying 1B, okay? So everyone has said something different, okay? So that's interesting. So now, if you really wanted to dive deep, what I'd do is I'd actually then try mixing songs that are in each of those keys. So I've got my song here. We don't know what key that in. This is my original song, Loco, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a song in at 9A, because that's what Mixed In Key, see how that says. I'm going to put one with 10A, see how close it sounds. Put one with 1B, because that's what TuneBat's saying. And then put one with 12B, because that's what Beatport's saying. And let's see which one actually has got the closest, and maybe based on that, maybe that one might be the best at detecting keys, okay? But again, I don't know if I'd go to this effort for every song, but it's kind of interesting. This would be the way to double check it. But then in saying that, if any of these sites verified one or the other, as soon as I've got two saying the same thing, I'd probably just go with that. But if everyone's saying something different, this would probably be the next step. Put them side by side. Okay, so here's my Loco song here. Okay, the song that we're trying to find the key for. And I go over here and, okay, this first one's at 10A. So that's what Rekordbox is saying this should be in. So that I've gone and found where the melodies are, and let's play them together. So, by the way, that's the song that we're finding out, like we're measuring against. That's dun, 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 whatever. And then you got this one. And I've gone and tried to find songs that are pretty much the same. Well, they are the same genre. It's like tech house, same kind of energy as well. So we're mainly listening for the sounds here, like how good they are. Okay. So this is whether or not Rekordbox is getting it right. Okay. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I could definitely mix into 10A and make this work. But whether or not it's the exact same key, I'm not sure. It's close. It's definitely close, but let's see. Okay, so that's Rekordbox. Okay, they're saying it's in 10A. This is a song in 10A. Okay, let's go have a look. So Mixed In Key is saying it's 9A. So let's go put a song at 9A and let's see if these sound like a perfect match or not. Okay. Okay, so this is, okay, and you got that already, okay. You know what? That sounds, I reckon that sounds a bit better. Then again, they're really close. My ears aren't like tuned to know exact keys or anything, so you guys weigh in on this, you know. But personally, that's that. Yeah, I think that one might be better than the one before. Okay, but let's go see. Now, TuneBat, what were they saying? They were saying it was 1B. Okay, so let's go see if it's 1B. So I found a song in 1B here. Let's put that with it. Let's see if, who's the closest. It's still not bad, but I don't think that's as close as the other ones. Yeah, I think, but then again, they're all kind of close. So I just thought, I don't know. I think the one before was better sounding than that. The sound sounded closer. Okay, let's have a look at the last one. So Beatport was saying 12B. Let's get a melody on that. Okay. See, they're all so close. That's not... So isn't that funny, eh? Like all these keys could be so close and they seem so like 12B and 9A, you wouldn't think that would actually work. So it must be come back to that line that they were saying that like sometimes it comes down to the sounds used in the scales and that. And sure, they might have a dominant note, but they're all disagreeing what that dominant key is here. But they all kind of work. The only reason you do this is, let's say you've got a track and you're finding it hard to mix it with anything. Well, we do know that it probably could actually go with, like this actual song could go with, 9A, 10A, 1B or 12B. But personally, this is my personal think on it. And tell me, let me know what you think, which one's the best in the comments. But I reckon maybe mixing key got the closest there. I actually think that 9A one might have actually been the best. Let's have one more listen to that one. Okay, let's have one look. Yeah, that sounds the same to me. I reckon that one's closest. But again, yeah, so I guess in saying that, they're all pretty close accurately, but according to that, mixing key 10. Now, whether or not mixing key 8, see, here's the thing, right? I don't know if I'd upgrade, because when I went to upgrade, right, even though I'm a member of mixing key 8, they wanted another $40. So whether or not it's worth that $40, I think the only reason I'd pay the $40 is if I wanted to have the integrated and automated cue points, which we'll discuss now. So all in all though, okay, let's say you have got Rekordbox or inbuilt key analysis in your software, I would probably just use that, okay? And you can use that for free without needing to pay for mixing key. So I would probably just use that. And I've been using like inbuilt key analysis and then again mixing key as well, and not really having that much problems. But if I do have a problem, we could do what we've done now and try and find a second opinion. And if you can't, we could actually just sort of test them with what they're saying and trying to see what we could find as a match. Okay, moving on. So now, how do we get cue points? Like, let's have a look at mixing key 10. Okay, and what I can do, let's say I want these songs in here. I've already done it, but I'll just drag these songs from Rekordbox and I just put them into mixing key here, and then it's going to analyze them. But it's already done that, so that's for the keys. But now, how do I get the automated cue points? Now, to do that, I have to actually point all the information in the right direction kind of thing, have everything reading. It's a little bit complex, but I'll go through the steps, okay? So number one, what you do is you go into Rekordbox and you go File and you go Export Collection, okay? That's the very first step, okay? And then up here you go Rekordbox and I go .xml and it's pointing it to Rekordbox, okay? And I just probably keep it like that. Then I hit save, but I've already done that already, and that's fine. Then what you have to do is you have to go into the cog here and you have to go advanced and you make sure it says BPM change points. You got that ticked and you make sure that that lines up with the file that you just saved, like where you've saved that Rekordbox library to. And if it's not there, so I had documents, Rekordbox XML, and if not, you browse and you just go found. If I hit it, that's the one I made, just select that and then you're there. That's actually good. Now, another thing quickly is you go to view and you need to make sure that in the layout, that's the tree view, like in the playlist section to the side there, that you just tick Rekordbox XML. Okay, then I go into mixing key and I go personalize and we go export cue points, and then you just make sure Rekordbox is ticked and you make sure that it's pointing to that same place, documents.rekordbox XML, and if not, you hit change. If it's not, and you just go and make sure you tick where you actually created that folder, okay, where you kind of saved that music to. Okay, then once you've done that, I've already loaded my songs in, but if not, you could just drag in the songs and analyze it, and it's already going to do that because you've got the export cue points here. But because I've already loaded those songs in, I'll just hit export cue points for existing files, okay? So it's saying now it's finished the exporting. Then what you do is you go into Rekordbox, and then we go down to where it says, sorry, I got on my training exercises. Okay, Rekordbox XML. Click the reload button. Okay, that's good. You probably have to do that each time you do it. So you go reload, then I open that up. And then you just go down. I think you got to find, I've just got a whole bunch of playlists here, but you find mixing key cue points, okay? Then what you do is you right click on that and you hit import playlist, okay? So you find mixing cue points, right click on it and go import playlist. So they've actually made that folder there. I didn't do that. Okay, so now I just go okay and it's importing them. Then what you do after that is you select all, you right click and you go import to collection. I'd say don't ask me again, so I don't want to do it for each song. Hit yes. Okay, and now it's loading it up. Okay, cool. Now it should be there. So what we do is we go back into our playlist section. So there it is, it's in K, there it is, okay? So that's basically the steps. So I'll put the steps in the description so you can do the exact same thing if you want, but it's pretty basic. Okay, so as we can see, now the cue points are like on each track, okay? But there are a couple of things to note here, okay? And that is, firstly, they're adding hot cues and not memory cues. Now, what that means is, right, if you're to export these cue points to a USB stick, they're only going to work on club gear that reads hot cues, which is the 2000s and Nexus models and that up, okay? So some of the older gear, for instance, what I've got here, even the 900 Nexus, they don't read hot cues, okay? But all club equipment, okay, they read memory cues. So if you were turning up to play in a club and let's say they turned up and you had older equipment, you may not be able to see these hot cues, okay? So memory cues are probably more for mapping the tracks, as hot cues are probably more for jumping around the track real time. Now, another thing to note is that when Mixing Keys put these automated cue points on them, what they've done is they've gone and put them on the first beat of each, what they feel is like the major sections of the song. So if I drag up, let's have a look at this one, right? I just drag it up. They put a cue here, probably on the first beat. Looks like that might be where it's starting to kind of kick in a little bit. Then you've probably got the drop there. Then it's probably like the breakdown, the build up, probably another drop, sort of a section in the drop. They're just picking that up. So, you know, and some of them seem kind of random, you know what I mean? But they're definitely going to be on the first beat of a phrase, and they're definitely kind of on bigger parts where there's like, you know, where, you know, Mixing Key have kind of detected some kind of big change, which I'll be honest, if I was using hot cues, right, to jump around the track and just have some fun and play the best parts of each track, these cue points are probably really, really good. But I don't know if they're going to be as effective as using memory cues. See, with memory cues, I can go and map my song so everything lines up. And this doesn't look like it's for that. It's more like for playing the best parts of each song. And what I mean by making everything line up is, let's pretend I'm replacing the drop, okay? So I've got one song playing here and it's building up to go to the drop. And let's say I want to replace that drop with the drop of another song here. That's making bits line up and playing specific parts of the song. And I'm saying here, going on these cues, these cue points, like they're on the beginnings of each section, but each section of each song might be a different length. So that means they're not necessarily all going to line up. So if I wanted to make sure stuff lines up, I could go into my DJ software, find the part I want to play. Let's say I want to replace the drop and put cue points 16 bars early on both songs that I want to replace the drop with. And that means if both cue points are 16 bars before the drop, I can come in at both those points. They're both equal distance to the drop and everything lines up. Now, if you're not sure how and where to set cue points, I've got a video in my free mini course where it's like how to set cues for all the main genres, even like an in-depth look of harmonic mixing and stuff. And there's about 17 free videos. So I'll put the link in below, but it's gold, man. Like it's really, really good. So check that out. But yeah, so I'm just saying memory cues are probably for playing the best parts of the song. Hot cues are kind of like for jumping around the song real time. Now, this video isn't really a demonstration video. It's kind of explaining how it all works and more concepts. But if you are interested in me doing a set where I use these cues, and maybe I could even not prepare it. Like maybe I could even use these songs. I just downloaded these songs for the sake of this video, but I haven't really listened to these songs. So maybe I could use these cue points, mix harmonically the whole time and do like a set with no prep, just using Mixing Key 10. And we could see if it could come together or not. But again, if I was playing live, I don't think I'd DJ like that. Like when I'm playing live, I want everything to line up and I probably would be setting memory cues. So, okay, that's all pretty tight. I think that's good. So as for whether or not I'd actually pay for Mixed In Key, well, if you have already got mixing key, I'd probably just be using that, okay? If you don't have mixing key, I probably would just be going off the inbuilt key analysis in my software. The only reason I probably would actually pay for mixing key is if you wanted these automated cue points, okay? But you could go through and do that yourself. But then again, for a one-off payment, I think if you're buying it from scratch and not upgrading, it's probably about $60. And it's always, I've always liked mixing key, I've always used it, but it's not like it's that different to what Rekordbox is saying. And I think in all, they're all getting pretty close. And there might be some songs that are kind of difficult and they might have different kind of sounds, but at the end of the day, I'm not ruled by mixing and key, and I probably wouldn't actually go and measure it all unless I was having super big problems with those songs. So hopefully that's been helpful. You know, this video actually took a fair bit of effort. I had to go research it all. So hopefully, you know, you found it helpful. But anyway, thanks for coming. See you next Monday.